ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, so we are continuing verse 3 of the prayers by Queen Kunti. So the third verse, titled The Most Intelligent Woman. तथा परमहंसानां मुनीनाम् अमलात्मनां भक्तियोगविधानार्थं कथं पश्येम हि स्त्रियः. You yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service unto the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators, who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. How then can we women know you perfectly? So you yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service. So why does the Lord appear? To propagate bhakti unto the hearts of advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators, yogis and gnanis, who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. So they are philosophers. They're able to discriminate. So here Kunti Maharani is saying, how then can we women know you perfectly? Even the greatest philosophical speculators cannot have access to the region of the Lord. So the emphasis here is on mental speculators. Greatest philosophical speculators cannot have access to the region of the Lord. It is said in the Upanishads that the supreme truth, the absolute personality of Godhead, is beyond the range of thinking power of the greatest philosopher. He is unknowable by great learning or by the greatest brain. He is knowable only by one who has his mercy. So the first thing here is that we cannot know Krishna by our abilities, by our great learning, by our great brain. He is beyond the range of thinking power, of our thinking power. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya Mama Vijanati. And here Prabhupada is very clearly saying that he is noble only by one who has his mercy. Others may go on thinking about him for years together, yet he is unknowable. May go on thinking about him, meaning speculating about him. But they cannot understand him because they won't get his mercy. Only the devotees get his mercy. This very fact is corroborated by the queen who is playing the part of an innocent woman. Women in general are unable to speculate like philosophers, but they are blessed by the Lord because they believe at once in the superiority and almightiness of the Lord, and thus they offer obeisances without reservation. It is very important to understand. We should not look at this as a disqualification. Philosophers, generally it is being said, again, this is not like there will obviously be exceptions to any generalization. So women in general are unable to speculate like philosophers. So philosophers, you are operating on the platform of brain, mental, right? And generally, it is considered that women operate on the platform of heart. And it is said that it is these two are distinct in the sense person who is like that is why somebody wrote men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Men want to be logical, women want to be emotional in general. So here it said that the speculation business is more for philosophers which are mostly in general men. And these philosophers, they are just using their brains to speculate, but they don't really have any faith or belief. So here Prabhupada is making a very important statement that women might not be able to speculate like philosophers. Now it's being able to speculate like philosopher is not like a great qualification at all, right? Because they'll speculate, and for lifetimes they just continue speculating without being able to reach any conclusion. So it's not necessarily qualification at all. What is a necessary qualification Prabhupada is highlighting here? But they meaning the women, are blessed by the Lord because they believe at once in the superiority and almightiness of the Lord. And thus they offer obeisances without reservation. The Lord is so kind that he does not show special favor only to one who is a great philosopher. He knows the sincerity of purpose. For this reason only, women generally assemble in great number in any sort of religious function. In every country and in every sect of religion, it appears that the women are more interested than the men. This simplicity of acceptance of the Lord's authority is more effective than showy, insincere religious fervor. Fervor, passion, ardor, intensity, zeal. Uh, so here, Prabhupada is very clearly saying that see this simplicity of acceptance of Lord's authority, hmm, uh, that they believe at once in the superiority and almightiness of the Lord. This is not seen in men, and this is practically being experienced as we are preaching. Hmm. Men are not interested in all this. They think that their work is just to earn money. So this simplicity of acceptance of Lord's authority is more important qualification. Of course, this should not be without discrimination also, in the sense not just blindly, because there are so many people who are cheaters. So there should be some level of intelligence to be used, again, which should be based on Shravanam, to say what is right, what is wrong, what is not, and accept what is right. But that simplicity which is there, saying that, oh, okay, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, okay, let me accept him. And wholeheartedly accepting is not present in men. So this Prabhupada is highlighting is a bigger qualification than being able to speculate. Kunti Devi prayed to the Lord very submissively, and this is the symptom of a Vaishnava. Very submissively. What is the submissiveness here? She is putting herself in the category of ordinary women. The Lord, Lord Krishna had come to Kunti Devi to offer respect to her by taking the dust of her feet. Because Krishna considered Kunti Devi's aunt, he used to touch her feet. But although Kunti Devi, a great devotee, was in such an exalted position, practically on the level of Yashoda Mai, Krishna's mother, she was so submissive that she prayed, Krishna, you are meant to be understood by the Paramahamsas, the most advanced transcendentalists. But I am a woman, so how can I see you? So though she is a great devotee, she is just putting herself, considering herself as just a normal woman. According to the Vedic system, there are four social divisions, Chaturvarnyam Maya system. The highest members of the social order are the Brahmanas, those who are intelligent, and then come the Kshatriyas, military men and administrators, the Vaishyas, farmers and businessmen, and finally the Shudras, ordinary laborers. One's place in the system is determined by one's qualities and work, guna karma. The Bhagavad Gita mentions Triyo Vaishyas Tata Shudraha, and the Srimad Bhagavatam speaks of Stri Shudra Dvijabandhunam. According to these references, women, Shudras, and Dvijabandhus are considered to belong to the same category. The word Dvijabandhu refers to one who is born in an exalted Brahmana or Kshatriya family, but who has no qualifications of his own. One's social standing, according to the Vedic system, is determined by one's qualifications. This is very practical. Suppose a man is born the son of a high court judge. This does not mean that he himself is also a high court judge. Yet because one happens to take birth in a Brahmana family, even if he has no qualifications, and is rascal number one, he claims to be a Brahmana, and although his qualifications are less than those of a Shudra, people accept him as a Brahmana. This has caused the downfall of the Vedic civilization. The Brahmanas in India are sometimes very much against my movement because I train and accept Brahmanas from Europe and America. But we do not care about their arguments, nor will any other reasonable man. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Pritivite ache yat nagaradi grama sarvatra prachara hoibe moranama. In every town, city and village of the world, Krishna conscious movement will be preached. How is it then the Europeans and Americans will not become Brahmanas? In fact, one who comes to Krishna consciousness has already surpassed Brahminism, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Mamcha yogyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who takes to Bhakti Yoga surpasses the modes of material nature and comes immediately to the transcendental platform Brahmabhuta. Not to speak of becoming a Brahmana, the person who fully engages in Bhakti Yoga attains the highest transcendental platform. So the important part here to note is fully engages. So when Prabhupada says one who takes to Bhakti Yoga, not part-time Bhakti Yoga, full-time Bhakti Yoga. So one who fully engages in Bhakti Yoga attains the transcendental platform. And that is why we have to move. We have to move from being partly engaged in Bhakti Yoga to being fully engaged in Bhakti Yoga. And again, I've discussed this multiple times in Bhagavad Gita classes, what this means. We have to follow Varnashrama. So in Grihastha Ashrama, we do our duties. And the same time we do Bhakti. Then in Vanaprastha, we come to the platform of fully engaging in Bhakti Yoga. The stereotype, crippled idea that only a person born in a Brahmana family can become a Brahmana has killed Vedic civilization. But now we are reviving the correct understanding that the attainment of perfection is meant for everyone. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Maam hi partha vyapashtritya episyu papa yoneha priyo vaishyas tatha shudras tepi yanti param gatin. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be low-born women, Vaishyas or Shudras, can approach the supreme destination. Thus, although women, Shudras and Vaishyas are ordinarily considered to belong to a lower class, when one becomes a devotee, he or she goes beyond such designations. Women, Shudras and Vaishyas are ordinarily regarded as less intelligent. But if one takes to Krishna consciousness, one is the most intelligent, as stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna ye bhaje se bada chatura. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, He rupe brahmanda brahmite kona bhagyavan jeev guru Krishna prasade pai bhakti lata bij. Among all the living entities wandering throughout the universe, one who is very fortunate receives by the mercy of the spiritual master and the mercy of Krishna the seat of devotional service. The Krishna consciousness movement does not consist of wretched, unfortunate men. No, it consists of the most fortunate. One who has taken to Krishna consciousness is to be considered the most fortunate because he has found the way to act so that his life will be perfect. One who is Krishna conscious and discharging his duties nicely is the most fortunate and the most perfect. This is humbly stated here by Kunti Devi. Although Kunti has the body of a woman, she was a devotee. Therefore, she was not like an ordinary unintelligent woman. woman. Rather, she was the most intelligent, for she recognized Krishna to be the supreme Godhead. See, this is the sign of intelligence, right? Recognize Krishna to be the supreme Godhead. One who accepts, takes to Krishna consciousness is the most intelligent. So we should not just be too bothered about this woman, Striyo Vaishya Tata Shudra. And anyway, it is said Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. So pretty much in Kali Yuga, everybody is lowborn. So there is no great discrimination or being done to pull down position of women or anything like that. Right? Everybody is fallen in Kali Yuga. In previous yugas, this would have made a difference possibly, right? Because not everybody would have been Shudras, but in Kali Yuga, everybody is a Shudra. So for she recognized Krishna to the Supreme Godhead. He has come to me to offer me respect, materially appearing to be my nephew, but he is the Supreme Person of Godhead. Therefore, in a previous verse, she said, Alaksham Sarvabhutanam Antarbahir Avastitam. You are not seen by ordinary men, although you are everywhere inside and outside. In another verse, also she said, Na Lakshase Moda Drisha. Fools and rascals cannot see you. This indicates that Kunti saw him. Kunti saw him. Unless she were able to see Krishna as he is, how could she say, Na Lakshase Moda Drisha? You also said, Prakrite Param. You're transcendental to this material creation. So Prabhupada is saying that Kunti actually saw Krishna as the Supreme Person of Godhead. So she is the most intelligent. Now here also in this verse, Kunti continues to express herself with humility. This humility is very good in devotional service. Therefore, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us, one should be more tolerant than the tree and humbler than the grass to make progress in spiritual life. This is necessary because for one who is living in this material world, there will be so many disturbances. Just as if one were traveling on the ocean. Prabhupada is giving his own example. He is traveling on the ocean. One cannot expect a very peaceful situation on the ocean. Even a big ship may also be unsteady, and at any moment there may be tumultuous waves. Similarly, in this material world, we should always expect danger. One cannot expect a very peaceful life within this material world. The Shastra Vedic literature says padam padam yat vipadam. At every step there is danger. But if one becomes a devotee, then one can escape. One will escape, nahi. One can escape. Can meaning there is a possibility. Who can escape? One who surrenders to Krishna can escape. See, please note this, Tirunadapi Sunichena. Now, what does this mean? It means that in today's world, all of us are harassed by people and situations. Either we are having trouble with people or we are having trouble with situations. Situations can be mind, body, right? Adidevik, Adhyatmik, Adibhautik. But it is said that one should tolerate and be humble. Unfortunately, we don't take this seriously. And here, Prabhupada is saying, if you want to make progress in spiritual life, we have to. Chaitanya Charitamrita Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that one should put this like a, uh, like a necklace around our neck. Like we should string it around our neck. Meaning we should all the time, we should keep thinking about this. Am I being tolerant? Am I being tolerant? Am I being humble? And humble doesn't mean external humility. This is another big problem. Externally, we are humble. Internally, we have our own thought process, independent thought process. This is not humility. Humility means just accepting instructions of superior. This is humility. Prabhupada writes elsewhere. Humility means accepting instructions of a superior. Externally also, if one person is humble, then it's nice. But the more important quality is internal humility, which is not to act independently. That is humility. And tolerate, yes, all kinds of situations, all kinds of problems. They're going to come. Papa is saying, Padam Padam Yad Vipadam. Every step there is danger. But we can escape if one becomes a devotee. So we have to become a devotee. And devotee means we have to serve Krishna, we have to follow his instructions. If one takes to Krishna consciousness, in the beginning there will be many disturbances caused by Maya. Beginning means what? Not just like few years. For many years there will be disturbances caused by Maya, the material energy of illusion. Maya will test us to see how firmly we are fixed in Krishna consciousness. Because she is also an agent of Krishna, she does not allow anyone the freedom to disturb Krishna. Therefore, she tests very rigidly to see whether we have taken to Krishna consciousness to disturb Krishna or are actually serious. That is Maya's business. So in the beginning, there will be tests by Maya, and we shall feel so many disturbances while making progress in Krishna consciousness. But please note this. If we follow the rules and regulations and chant regularly as prescribed, then we shall remain steady. If we neglect these principles, Maya will capture us immediately. So please note this emphasis on following rules and regulations. There are basic rules and regulations, more advanced rules and regulations, but there are rules and regulations. We have to follow this. And we have to chant regularly. Chant means just not chanting beats, chanting, reading. All of this is daily sadhana. Following rules and regulations, doing daily sadhana, then we will remain steady. If we remain steady, Maya will not touch us, cannot touch us. If we are not steady in bhakti, then Maya is always ready. We are in the ocean and at any moment we may be disturbed. Therefore, one who is not disturbed at all is called Paramahamsa. Now, in this disturbance also, there are two ways we can think of. One is bhakti is not disturbed. So there is called anishtita bhakti and nishtita bhakti. In nishtita bhakti, nishta, adau shraddha tada sadhu sangha bhajana kriya anartha nivritti nishta. In nishta, though there are anarthas in us, they don't prevent us from doing steady devotional service. Steady meaning that we have some commitment that we have taken and we try to stick to it. Of course, once in a while, like there's a festival, some schedules will go out of whack, but that's okay, right? The idea is that on a normal basis, the schedules, the commitments have to be upheld. So that is Nishta. So one who is able to remain Nishta is also moving towards Paramahamsa. Now, Paramahamsa has more qualities wherein he is not even mentally disturbed by the disturbances, by the situations. But in Nishta, maybe one is disturbed, but he still remains fixed in devotional service. That means that that person is making progress. Kunti Devi therefore says, Tatha Paramahamsanam. You are meant to be understood by Paramahamsas. Very exalted. Very exalted. Word Parama means ultimate. Hamsa means swan. Paramahamsa means the perfect swan. If we give a swan milk mixed with water, the swan will take the milk and leave aside the water. Similarly, this material world is made of two natures, inferior and superior. The superior nature means spiritual life and the inferior nature is material life. There's a person who gives up the material part of this world and takes only the spiritual part is called Paramahamsa. So now gives up material part meaning we have to eat. Should we give up? No, but of course, when we reach a very exalted stage, we might even give up that material part. But just engaging in material activities to just keep body and soul together is also considered on the platform of Paramahamsa. One should know that the activities of the body are due to the soul within the body. That is the real fact. The body is only the outward covering. Similarly, one should know that Krishna is the real center of all activities, and one who knows this is a Paramahamsa. This Bhakti Yoga is for the Paramahamsa, or one who knows that Krishna is the central fact. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattas sarvam pravartate. I am the source of everything. Everything emanates from me. So one who knows not only theoretically but practically that Krishna is the cause of all causes, one who is convinced of this is a Paramahamsa. Practically meaning he is engaged on that platform. That Krishna is the cause of all causes, meaning when things happen, he understands, he accepts it, saying that, okay, this is Krishna's desire, Krishna's will. And he's only accepting the spiritual part of this material world, material life. Kunti Devi says, you are meant for the Paramahamsas, not for fools and rascals. You are meant for the Paramahamsas and Munis. The word Muninam refers to those who are thoughtful or to mental speculators. And the word Amalatmanam refers to one who has no dirty things in his heart. The heart of a materialistic person is full of dirty things. What are those dirty things? Lust and greed. All materialistic persons are lusty and greedy, and therefore their hearts are understood to be full of dirty things. But Amalatmanam refers to those who are freed from these two contaminations. So we have to come to this stage of Amalatmanam. We don't have to become Muninam or Bhakti. We should just come to the platform of Amalatmanam. Bhakti Yoga is meant for those whose hearts are cleansed, not for the lusty and greedy. Of course, those who are lusty and greedy may try to advance and gradually they may do so. But once one is situated in Bhakti Yoga, there is no more lust or greed. So we should understand that we are still not situated in Bhakti Yoga if we have lust and greed. Viraktir anyatra cha. This is the test. When one is free from lusty desires and greed, then he is situated in Bhakti Yoga and is actually a Paramahamsa. Kunti Devi humbly submits, you are meant for the Paramahamsas and Munis, those who are cleansed in heart and are engaged in Bhakti Yoga. But what are we? We are simply women. We are in a lower class. How can we understand you? Although she understands everything, she still takes the position of an ordinary woman and says, how can I understand you? This is humility. Amazing explanation to this verse. So, what is the sum and substance? Sum and substance is one is we have to have humility. We have to tolerate. And we should not have any sense of false ego, right? Ahankara or pride. We don't have to think that, oh, how can I be treated like this? How can people treat me like this? And we should come to the pure platform, Amalatmana. Amalatmana. So we have to come to the pure platform, right? Pure platform means free of lust and greed. So when we come to the platform which is free of lust and greed, then we have reached the Paramahamsa stage. So in this material world, we have to accept only the spiritual part of this life, not the material part, meaning we should not get too engaged in the material part of life. Of course, there are practical considerations and you have to deal with those accordingly. So what are practical considerations? For example, somebody who's married will have to try and take a spouse along. We should not just make progress alone and then be left out and then relationship gets affected, etc. So we can keep that internal mood of a Paramahamsa, but externally we have to do things so that we can bring others also into the fold. So there are a lot of nuances here, right? But the point is that we have to understand and accept Krishna's position. We should accept him wholeheartedly, right? The simplicity Prabhupada mentioned in the first paragraph itself. Simplicity of acceptance of the Lord's authority is very important. The simplicity also means not trying to find reasons to defy his authority, to deny his authority. Meaning, oh, I'm very intelligent, so I'll use my intelligence to somehow make sure that I don't surrender to Krishna. That is stupidity, that is foolishness. So simplicity of acceptance. So we should accept Lord's authority holistically. not partly. That I will accept some part of what Krishna is saying and the other part I will not. So we have to be, we have to understand these things. So very simple sounding words, but very detailed philosophical purport. Okay, I'm stopping here. If anybody has any questions, I can try to clarify.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavata Mataji.
How do we understand this dichotomy, Prabhu, that if like for Kanishtarikaris like me also, it seems so be like material difficulties or whatever, physical difficulties come, that how do we understand that whether Krishna is sending or it is just my past karma that I'm suffering or...
Yeah, so Brahma actually answers this question in Brahma's prayers in the 10th canto. So he says, Tattenu kampas samikshamano, bunjana evatna kritam vipakam. So actually what, actually devotees are always put themselves in a humble position and say that it's actually my karma phala. It's actually my karma phala, but the Lord is so merciful that he has reduced my karma phala and he's only given me a very small part of it. So that, so it's his mercy. I deserve more, lot more. Now, the truth of the fact matter might be something totally different, because one who is completely surrendered to Krishna, he doesn't have any karma phala. Especially at the time of initiation, all his karma phala is destroyed. The time of initiation. Right? So after initiation, for a sincere, very sincere surrendered devotee, mostly the karma phala is destroyed and it is semblance of karma phala. It looks like karma phala, but it is not. But that is Krishna's mercy to take away whatever remaining anarthas that might be there in the devotee. But generally, devotees think of themselves as in a humble mood. They think that, oh, no, this is all because of my karma phala. I've done a lot of nonsense in my past. But Krishna is being so merciful, he's giving me only a small part of the suffering. And patiently wait for his mercy. That's what that verse says. Tattenu kampasu samikshamana. Patiently waits for his mercy. Such a person becomes rightful heir, or he gets the right to enter Goloka. One who is simply patiently suffering and yet at the same time continuing whatever service can be done in that situation without waiting for some very favorable future. Of course, we should not be crazy and do things which are going to disrupt. Like I keep saying, ours is not a one-day match. Ours is not a T20. Ours is a test match. Meaning, it's not like we slog one day and and we create such a situation for ourselves that another 5 days we are out of action. That is not very intelligent. So, to whatever extent possible in that situation, we should try to serve, but patiently just suffering, saying that, okay, this is my karma phala. That is the mood that is expected for devotees.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. See, and suffering will be there. So, we should not be in the illusion that we will not have suffering. And in some cases, it will be tests. In some cases, so these things we can't distinguish what is what. But in general, it's good to see that we are making progress in every situation. That is the most important thing. Right? If you are making progress, then that means that was worthwhile, right? That whatever situation, suffering that we went through was worthwhile because we moved closer to Krishna. So that mode is important, right? Instead of that, actually, we kind of get lost in trying to, first find a reason for the material problem, second find the solution, and we become so engrossed in that. Of course, we have to try and find a solution. It's not like we have to mm, when Kamsa was about to kill Devaki, it's not like Vasudeva was like just standing there saying, okay, whatever will happen is Krishna's will. No, I mean, he tried his best to protect Devaki. And Prabhupada says that till we are alive, we should try to protect this body and keep this body and soul together, because body is not ours. Body belongs to Guru. So we have to try and keep it in good shape so that it can be used in Krishna's service. But that doesn't mean that we become too engrossed in that body. At the same time, we don't completely neglect the body or the suffering, right? So both have to be managed. Is that okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? Please read this purport again. I mean, I think it's a very, very solid purport. So many things are being talked about. And generally, for the, I spoke about this yesterday also. Generally, this, in general, so women class is women, Shudras, Dvijabandhus, all of them are considered low class, which means that they are just materialistic in their outlook, right? Meaning they are just out there to enjoy material life. And they are not considered highly from a viewpoint of scriptures. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, even if they are Stris, Vaishyas, Tata Shudras, Tepi Anti Paramgatim, they can also achieve the Paramgatim, the supreme destination. But for whom? Mam hi partha vyapashritya. One, you take shelter of me. The important part here is that one, we have to take shelter of Krishna. Then we lose all our disqualification of birth, right? We might be low born or doesn't matter, but we have to take shelter of Krishna. Okay, well, stop here.
Hare Krishna.
Huh.
Okay, so here, I mean, as Queen Kunti knows everything,
Hmm.
but still she tells, I mean, women are low class, I mean,
Hmm.
Shudras and all these things.
Hmm.
And as women accepts Krishna as the supreme personality, apart from accepting Krishna as the supreme, what else is a woman supposed to do?
What else is a woman supposed to do? Yeah, so see, basically
I
we have
mean,
to.
to
Hmm. Tell me.
that's what of men read Vedas and Shastras and they grow gradually. So I mean, other than the other things, I mean, to get, I mean, to be, elevated. I mean, at least to reach Krishna. Like what
Yeah, yeah.
else? The basic things.
Yeah, basic thing is Shravanam Kirtanam, right? See, basically, hearing about Krishna, reading about Krishna, talking about Krishna. This everybody has to do. This reading Vedas is different from what we are doing. Reading Vedas is for Brahmanas, right? We are not reading, I mean, while Purana Itihasas are considered as Panchama Veda, they don't require a birth qualification for reading. So, for reading Vedas, one has to be Brahmin born. Hmm. So, but that is the Vaidika Vidhi. In Pancharatrika Vidhi, there are two Vidhis actually currently which are being followed. One is Pancharatrika, the other is Bhagavata Vidhi. In Bhagavata Vidhi, the process is Shravanam Kirtanam, and it doesn't matter men, women, which birth, etc., etc. Shravanam Kirtanam. So, everybody has to engage in this Namavida Bhakti, irrespective whether we are men or women or whatever, right? So, you have to just engage in Namavida Bhakti. And Namavida Bhakti means Shravanam Kirtanam. So that is why everybody has to chant Hare Krishna, everybody has to read about Krishna, everybody has to read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, everybody has to speak about that to others. And this is the method to make progress. Right? ABCD. Association of devotees, reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, chanting Hare Krishna, accepting prasadam. This is what everybody has to do in this yuga for making progress. And that process itself will take us to Krishna. We will achieve Krishna by simply following this process. Nothing else needs to be done. Okay?
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Anybody? Okay, then we'll stop here. We'll continue tomorrow, Krishna will. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti vaishnavvranda ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.